Gold has literally been mooning for the past month, man. We're almost about to hit 5.5K. We're about to hit 6K on gold. I think we can even hit 7K by the end of this year easily on gold. It's going crazy. But today I'm going to do a trade recap on NQ, going over how I was able to catch these three winners back to back during the ADA session and a little into London. So without further ado, let me jump straight into the strategy and setup that I utilize on this day. Let's get straight into it. Again, if you guys think my videos are confusing, I highly recommend you check out the Discord. There's a free beginner's training course and bootcamp on my channel, as well as a lot of free resources you guys can use if you're new to trading. If you're not new to trading, you can check out the 100 Sword course, and I teach how to catch all these trades in there. Let's go on the higher time frame to start off this day. So the first setup here I took was a stop hunter. If I go back in time here real quick, go back here. So clearly, the first thing I always do is look at the high time frame trend. First of all, my daily bias indicator is the second thing I look at. Usually I do look at trend myself, and trend clearly on the right here, we're bullish. If we're creating market structure, going to the top right of my screen, I'm looking for longs, and I'm gonna try to avoid looking for shorts unless we take out a high, which I'll explain in a bit. But you can see daily bias results pointing bullish. This is A plus conditions for me, where the trend on the right is matching the trend on the left, aka the higher time frame. Now I did mark out here that I missed a stop hunter setup because I was in a one-on-one mentorship call. Unfortunately at the time, nothing wrong with that, but I was in a call for quite a while, so missed the stop hunter setup. Why is this stop hunter? We took out previous day high. Remember, if we're bullish, we can take out previous day high, and I don't mind you guys looking for stop hunter setups above this because it is still a pro trend setup. But obviously the further higher you go, the less likely or less rare you should be looking for a stop hunter, unless you have another clear draw in liquidity, which I had very clear draws to the upside here, and I believe this supply marked out was on maybe like the 5-minute or 1-minute time frame. Yeah, so this was a 5-minute supply. Let's see, it was on the 15-minute. Yeah, it's also on the 15-minute, so we can mark that as a 15-minute. It's 5-minute refined, but basically I was just looking for longs. Again, missed the stop hunter setup here. That's okay. That's not a problem here. And now basically I was looking for, so how you would have taken the stop hunter, I'll go over it very briefly. I've talked about it so many times in my YouTube videos, so I do take a lot of stop hunter setups. You follow internal market structure here. This is your internal market structure here, candle to candle. Now looking at candle to candle, this low got taken out, and there's also a very close nearby low. Usually if there's two lows that are super close to each other stacked like this, and then you see a PY below, I tend to like taking the second low instead of the first low. And if I ever do enter on the first low, I will try to either use my new strategy to teach you guys with the limit order to enter at a better price point, or again wait for confirmation. But for the most part, I would probably use the limit order first, see if I get filled or not. And yeah, that's what I do. And I cover prior to this PY, or you can cover the PY if you want, but look at the RR. You want to get at least 3 RR usually on stop hunters, so you could have just waited more patiently for this more prevalent low here and taking this for 3R. Now I did miss this, so that's okay. Now where did I look for my trade? Well, I looked for my trade up here. So again, stop hunter, keep it simple, it was lower high, or a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, looking for that higher high expansion. This sweep is what you're looking for. That's exactly what I have marked out here. This low made this new high here, and I took it here. And my limit order here was set at the PY right below. Since it's so close to this low, I figured we would get that first. So I did enter here. Again, if you waited for the normal entry that I teach you guys, you could also enter here. Or sorry, not normal, but more so like the old standard typical entry that I teach you guys. Then you could have entered here, which again could have been completely fine. You just get like a 1-to-1 R trade, or you cover this sell to buy here, and you get like a 1.39. But for me, not really worth it. I was willing to wait more patiently. Again, if I miss this setup here, if I get confirmation here, I might take the confirmation trade here. But in this case, this is not good because look at the range size of stop hunters. Whenever you're taking a stop hunter setup, it is in a small, tight 1-minute range, and because the range is so small, looking for confirmation, in my opinion, is not ideal. Because by the time you get confirmation on your setup, price is already back in premium. of this range. So imagine you get your 1 minute OB entry or IFG, whatever, 50% new 2026 model I show you guys. By the time you get your entry, it's priced already in premium, and it could just mitigate this. You take out this internal high or mitigate this high or PY and then go lower, mitigate this, and then give you entry model to go higher. So I don't really recommend for stop hunter purposes to take 1 minute entry confirmations. If you're gonna take entry confirmation for stop hunter, seconds is the way to go, just because again, you gotta trade based on the relativity of the size of the range. If it's a very small 1 minute range, you need to use the seconds to enter. It's just like if we have a massive 1 minute range, using a 1 minute time frame is less ideal to enter compared to using the 5 minute time frame, for example. But for me, if we have a massive 1 minute range, I'm gonna look for a more structural confirmation because it's the same concept and idea as this here. Like for example, with this tiny range here, it doesn't make sense to wait for a confirmation on the 5 minute. Look, if you get a confirmation entry on the 5 minute, you're entering up here, which makes no sense. So backtest and understand the relativity of your setups. So this was the limit order I had. I just covered this OB right below, and my TP was at this 15-minute PY above. So it later played out. It got very close to my stop loss at some point. What time was this? 11. I don't know what happened here. I think this is just normal market volatility. I don't think it was news. Maybe financial juice news sometimes tends to do that, but I don't think there was news on, if I'm not mistaken here. So this was just a setup where you just hold and go for a target because it's an A+ setup to me. Actually, no, I would say this is an A setup, not A+. A because we already took out a high. Ideally, you want to be trading towards the high, but once you do take out highs, you want to be careful. But I did have such a clear draw on the left that I was willing to take this setup here, and you can see what I mean. Like if you waited for confirmation here, your entry would be up here or here, and at that point, price already mitigated a PY that can send us lower. So that's exactly what happened here. And this becomes your internal sweep now within the same PY, and then going higher. Now, let's go over next trade. Remember, for A and A+ setups, I tend to not like going break even. I have very high conviction. My win rate is extremely high on those trades, so break even is not ideal for me. Here's the origin I marked out here. Let me hide my indicator. Again, if you want access to the indicator, it's all on my website. There's a one-time payment, monthly, and yearly, of course. There's the origin. I believe I marked on the 1 minute. Let me see. So yeah, I think this was me marking on the 5 minute. I just didn't have it holding control. If you hold control on your keyboard, pro tip, it's a magnet. It can magnetize the price, as you can see. It enables this little, is it the weak or strong magnet? I think it's a strong magnet. Yeah, strong magnet up here. Yeah, it's a strong magnet. Okay, so make sure you select that. Anyway, that was the origin, and then I'm looking for my entry model here. We got the OB entry model right here. Right, we have 3 candles. 1, 2, 3. 3 candle sequence with a gap. Here's the OB, the first candle, and I have my limit order there set, and my target is very clear. It's just the next break structure. That's it. So took the setup here, and boom. To me, this is a really good setup. The reason why is because there's only one PY here. You can argue there's like 3, 1, 2, 3, but it's all within this like same area, very small area, and it's very unlikely that we mitigate this, for example here. Get an entry model, mitigate this, get an entry model, mitigate this, get an entry model, mitigate this, get an entry model, because it's such a small little range or area. Price is unlikely to do that, and look at the size of the candle delivery. That tends to not happen here. So I just started the high, got about 5 RR out of this. So at this point in time, I'm already almost at 10 RR. That's usually the RR I like to. I wouldn't say you guys should trade based on your RR performance on a given day, but I just know if I do well on or if I trade well and stick to my strategy system, when conditions are good, and I made a course video talking about left versus right trend and how they should be in alignment majority times. If you can trade during those conditions and look for my setup, you can easily make 10 R in a day, sometimes 20, but 10 R in one session. So you can easily make technically 30 RR across all 3 sessions if you really were being patient and looking for your A setups or A+ setups where the trend on the right is following the same as the trend on the left. So, like for example, here's what I mean by a trend on the left. We have this as a right trend, but on the left, if you go to the higher time frame, we were chopping up here a bit, but you can clearly see, like, there's no reason to look all the way back here. This is kind of just for reference here. Like, this is what the market structure is looking like here, right? We have this high intact here, and so left trend is trying to deliver to the upside, and the right trend is now delivering to the upside here. An example of not so good conditions to trade and look for longs is when price is shifting on the right, bearish, right? When the trend on the left is bullish. So these are conditions where you should actually be looking for shorts. Shorts are technically the pro trend setup in this case. Otherwise, you trade with the trend on the right here. So always try to trade with the trend on the right, and if it aligns with the left, that's even better. Now, we have a high marked out. Let me see which high this was. This was this high here, the high right before that high there, because I've noticed from my testing that even though we have a clear draw high here, we could always get some reaction at these highs here right before. Like for example, this high here, I think we had some reaction. Let me see. Did we? Yeah, I believe we had some reaction here. You could have caught a scalp here, for example. I'm taking out even these set of highs here. So if you're wondering what the scalp would look like, let me see if there's even a setup. There might not be a setup here. So then that might be the setup here to the downside in that case, because they already took out the internal low. You don't want to go for a scalp trade when we already take out the internal low, because that's your target. Like just for example, imagine there's a setup here. You don't want to be targeting, or you don't want to get into this trade with the OB intra model here anymore if we already took out your target, which was this internal low, because then this becomes a stop hunter to the upside. Now we took out the next high here on the very far left, and I was looking for just a 1 hour scalp. Okay, that's it. Just looking for a 1 hour scalp. In this case, we did have us taking out this internal low, so it's definitely lower probability at this point in time. But knowing my target, I can see my target for a 1-to-1 is not too far. It is still prior to the mitigation of the PY. If we do have a gap here, that makes sense. Like for example, price could, even if we're bullish, price could deliver to my OB intra model and come back here and then go higher, but I would still hit TP even if my direction is wrong here. So this look good to me. And let's see what happens here. We eventually do dump more than I expected. How much farther did we dump? So I just took 1 hour off this trade. We did go back to 50% here. I think there's unmitigated. There's also PY below here. That's even better. Wow, okay. We went 8 risk reward past my short here. Pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Yeah. Yeah, you can see it's pretty insane. Again, you're not going to be able to cash the entire move every single setup. This is how the market moves. I teach you guys how the market moves in the Discord. In a course, if you guys want to join, click the link down below. You can sign up for the mentorship. I'm opening up 1 spot for next month. Again, limited spots available. It's really a first come, first serve basis. Apply with the link down below. And otherwise, if you want to learn at your own pace or check out the indicators, they're on my website. I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what type of other videos you guys want me to make in the future. Peace.